Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Achieving a Success. If you're new here, my name is Miracle, or Population Me. If you're returning, then welcome. This is finally been more or less the 6-month mark of me literally starting modeling. So give it up for me. I literally have not quit, which is great. And if you are new, here's just a quick rundown of my modeling career. I started back in December, where I originally got photos. Here they are from a modeling studio called Map Studio based in Chicago, where I got my first initial pictures. And then I went on and I just started finding random projects to do within modeling. And 6 months later, more or less, here I am. And I'm giving you guys all of the little details that I figured out throughout my time and really how I want to push and pursue more, even with a full-time job now, because we don't want to stop the grind, of course. So yes, this is more of a tips and tricks, but also what I've learned so far. So if you like that, keep watching. Great. So as I said, I started modeling back in December, at least with the initial pictures of me having it. And then starting off this year, I started looking into different runways because I am 5'8", so I fit within the criteria of like 5'9" and above. They kind of stretch it depending where you look. And then just looking for a lot of free photographers who are allowing me to take photos as well. So I already been in 2 runway shows. I have 1 runway show coming up in July, making it number 3. And I had to say no to 1 runway show. So that's already that aspect. And when it comes to commercial work, zero, literally zero commercial work because I'll get into that, of course. But then when it comes to TFP, which is trade for print or trade for photos, which is you give photographers your time for them to build up their skills as a photographer, and they give you, hopefully, fingers crossed, amazing pictures for you to put on your portfolio, whether that's a website, social media, or whatever you use for your own platform, right? So we're going to get into all that, plus more, plus different platforms I've used. I'm pretty sure I said them ad nauseum at this point. But hey, for the new watchers, this is for you. So starting off, when you want to take photography, you want to try to take digitals, which is like the picture of you in the front, the picture of you side, and then back. Well, not back. I messed it up. You want to do a full body profile, so like side profile, and then headshot pictures. And those are usually like 4 pictures you might need. Sometimes depending on what agency you're trying to apply for, they might ask for different pictures. I don't know why. But you can take them either yourself with good lighting and a white background, wearing all black, or you can have someone professional do it, and hopefully you don't have to pay a lot of money. I did it myself, and I realized I had terrible lighting in my own apartment, so I had it done professionally for free, thank God, because really, it's really hard to find, I can't spend $1 right now. So that's been great for me. And you can send those pictures to like every agency you find. Does not have to be in your own city. Does not have to be in the same country. They work remotely, I guess, if they are allowing you to do it. And that's your main way of stepping into modeling if you don't want to find projects. Now, what is modeling? If you don't know, modeling is, in a larger sense, you're showing off someone's design concept, artistic work, and they're doing it through you. Whether that is a runway show and you're wearing clothing of the designer, whether that's commercial and you're showing off a product, whether that's food, technology, whatever, like a house, whatever, or you're doing like makeup or skincare or whatever you see on TV or in ads these days, that's all considered modeling. Of course, commercial work is acting as well, but it's kind of intertwined when you hit those same roads. So you're just modeling, you're basically a mannequin for someone, whether that is you moving for a commercial or you walking for a runway, or if you're doing like pictures and you see them in magazines, those can also be like modeling. So some actors, if you're in like major magazines, they are considered also models because they also have those pictures, right? They're probably doing it more because of their job and less because of modeling, but they intertwine, right? Okay, so I have done, like I said, 2 runway shows so far, and I've found them through main platforms, Instagram and Facebook. How do you do that? There's no real hack to it, unfortunately. There's no real way to find them. You have to kind of just look it up on Instagram, and they have a terrible search feature. So you kind of have to do like your due diligence and just start liking posts that are about anything modeling, so that way your feed will actually be towards that. So right now my feed is like 70% towards like modeling and then 30% towards whatever it originally was. So it's like a good balance. So I'm not like overwhelmed by just modeling random shit. And then Facebook has similar things. Facebook is a lot harder to have it featured for your feed, because I will still like posts that's about modeling and it'll still show me random things I don't even follow on my feed. So it's like, they're just a useless app, but they're good because some people do not post on Instagram and Facebook, even though it's beneficial for me personally. So that's great. So that's where I find it for the most part. The third runway show that I had to say no to, not the one in July, but there's another one that I was gonna do that was gonna happen like literally in 2 weeks in DC. I can't do it because I won't be there. Of course, I have a work trip, and I'll tell you more about that in a different video. But I was able to find that one because, like I said, on Instagram, you find a lot of people who are doing open casting or casting call, which, if you don't know, is when you apply and they want you to do like an audition, which for a model, it's just you showing off your walk for like, if you're seeing a runway walk, that is what the walk they want you to show, right? And I got accepted, yay. And it sounds amazing, but I can't come to it because I have to be gone. But that's how I would usually find it for a lot of things. Now, if you are not 5'8" or you're not 5'7", because at some point, some runways, shows, or casting call, they do have parameters. So if like for height, for example, I can probably do like most runway shows. Some of them do be pushing that 5'9", 5'10" height and actually wear like 5-inch heels, which whatever. But if you cannot do it because you're like 5'5" or below or something like that, there is a different type of modeling called commercial modeling, which there's like 20 different types of modeling. We're gonna go with the real popular ones, right? So it's commercial modeling, which is your ads, your pictures in like magazines and stuff like that. And they're just to push product. Don't worry about the why they have it. Think about more about how you can get into it, right? And that can also be on Instagram and Facebook, but they're, in my opinion, a lot less so, unless you live in New York, LA, sometimes Atlanta, which is surprising, just because they have all of the artistic people there. And that's where they all venture it. But if you want to go into like platforms that you have to pay for, but they have like trials in some cases, I say some cases because there's some that don't have trials depending on when you apply. Backstage is really popular, at least for like actors and models in some cases. And there's Casting Network, which is also a popular one. There's another one called All Casting, and that's just the title. So you can hope that they have all of the castings you'll ever see. Now, they have to actually put the casting calls on those websites. So it does not do a scrape of the internet. So if Instagram says there's a casting call for something that's happening in your city in 2 days, you will not probably see that same casting call on Instagram, on like All Casting or Backstage. And it's because Backstage, you have to pay to post jobs on there. So you're not going to see someone do it for free on Instagram and say, fine, I'll pay for it as well and put it on Backstage. Now, realistically, it should be free, but they're going to choose one or the other, and they have to go for it, but they really want like experienced models. They're going to go for the paid platform because they will reach people who are verified, people who are real about it because you're paying for the platform or you have a trial on there, and they can see your portfolio. So if you have like actual pictures on your social media and you link it, or you have a portfolio website like Canva or WordPress or Wix or whatever, or you have a paid site too, like, you know, you can always place it on these websites and they can see it, which makes you more professional, right? And so I personally have, I did use Backstage for free just because I was like, let me see what they got going on. And they cannot talk, I talked about this in a previous video somewhere along the line, but they have a really bad way of filtering for your city. Like I will say Chicago because I live here, if you didn't know, and they will still say US, which is like including every state, but then the state they put in the description as like Texas. And I'm like, why didn't you not just put Texas in the, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just inconsistent that I wouldn't pay for it. So I'm currently using All Casting, which I told you guys if you were returning that I was going to talk about it. I'm doing it in this video. So All Casting is, like I said, one of many platforms you can use to actually apply for modeling gigs. That is also including acting gigs or speaking roles or theater. For some reason, I don't know why you're doing theater on All Casting. They probably have a better website for you. I'm not gonna lie, but they have all of them. I don't know if they have all of them. They claim to have all of them. And when I got it on a lovely sale. I think I talked about this a little bit. I got it originally. It's like $35 a month. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you like it is. And I was able to get it on like a crazy deal, which might just be the deal for a good minute. I got it for like $3.50 a month, and I'm on a yearly plan, which Honestly, it might be 1 year because I don't want to do too much, but it was $84 compared to like the 200 something dollars it originally was. Now, I've been using all casting for, I want to say, almost 2 to 3 weeks now. So around late May to like now, right? Have I found success with all casting? You're wondering, I wonder. First, I think the filter is amazing. I can apply to a lot of things on there and not worry about it not being Chicago. They do have a few jobs that are not considered like Chicago because it's the United States, but they still pop up as Chicago. Those are fine. I haven't got any commercial work on there personally, but I have been contacted by a few casting directors for like a project here and there, for photography here and there. And we're just trying to set up more of like what we want to do for it and how I'm going to fit their vision for it. So I will say it has been useful in the 3 weeks that I've literally been on there in terms of actually finding real projects. It doesn't seem like a scam, even though it comes off like that, just because projects on there, you click it, you apply, you cross your fingers, you hope. Like it's a whole thing, but like you start thinking it's fake. It's real until I say it's fake. Because when I say it's fake, then you know I've been scammed again, of course. So far I've been doing great on all casting. I can show you a bit of my profile as well so that you guys can actually see it, because so far I had to change a few of my pictures just because you need to add a headshot photo, side profile, full body profile for anyone who's going to see you. So casting directors, if you're doing like UGC, for example, because they have UGC on there too, there are people on there who might look at your profile. And you can't really add like demo videos from social media, but if you have like a reel for acting or you have like a model walk, I don't think they have model walks on there, but they have other stuff on there that you can use. So far I had good success, but if you want to be a commercial commercial model, it is a lot easier to do so using these platforms. I know I tried, because they don't really post a lot of commercial modeling projects or gigs on social media. You can't really look on Instagram. You can't really look on Facebook or Threads or TikTok or, some people say LinkedIn. I don't know how you're doing that. Good luck. But most of the time it's going to be on like a paid platform because they got to pay you real money. So I've seen projects that I don't know how real this is, but some of them be like $3,000 for just one project and you're with Gucci, right? Which is amazing. I love that because Gucci would never post it on Instagram and think, oh, people won't think I'm scamming them, right? So it becomes a lot more credible because they all have to pay in order for them to post on there. So it's not like anyone's posting, I would hope. You never know. I guess scammers get whatever they want. But, you have to be careful with some projects because you have to read and also know where it is and know when the dates are. And you don't get a lot of information until you're considered chosen. So if you want to go commercial modeling, I would suggest you literally go on a platform, do a free trial. And then if it at least do well by you in the 2 weeks, I would say purchase it for a month because sometimes 2 weeks don't give you any projects. I'm not going to lie. But if you're doing all casting, I can vouch for it right now. If it changes, delete my vouch for real. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. But yeah, that's all I can say about all casting because I only have like 3 weeks, but it's been good to me so far. So when it comes to modeling for like, let's say you want to do like photography, you want to show off your pictures, you want to build a portfolio. Like I said before, TFP, trade for print or trade for photos. It's just the idea that you and the photographer are building up your skills as you model them photographer. You can find them on Facebook. There's Facebook groups. I'm in like a Facebook photography group where I literally find people who are willing to do free photography on certain days, and I hit them up. Or you can go on Instagram and you can find different photographers who have the capability to do TFP because obviously a lot of photographers want to get paid for sure. But sometimes you can't afford to pay a good photographer good pictures, or you don't really trust the process sometimes. So you want to know how it's done with other people. And so far, I've had a great experience. I really haven't had too many photographers bail out on me. I only ever bailed out one time. It was an accident, and I apologize for it. And then I had 2 times where 2 photographers have bailed out on me. One of them just never showed up, and to this day, never texted me. Another one also never showed up, and to this day, has not texted me. So you gotta be careful with who you contact, but also like safety first. So if they're taking you to like a random place, always try to have a place in mind when doing photography because you end up having the most power because you're contacting them. If they contact you, they might have more say, but if they're with other photographers, that might be, or other models. Like here are some pictures I taken of the gown model I went to that I showed in like a YouTube video whenever ago. And they're just from a day where I was wearing like a gown, like it was like more prom inspired, and there was like a bunch of the models there. They're not in the picture, but this is one of those days where it was like, oh, you're coming to me and we're gonna take pictures, and it was in like a warehouse, and I was like, cool. And I went, and there was like a bunch of other people there, which I already knew because I was in a group chat with them. So you gotta be careful, right? You gotta safety first, obviously, at all times. So you're probably wondering, where do you want to post these pictures? Because not everyone has a social media account, which, for modeling, it is considered important, but I can understand why you wouldn't want to have a social media account, or if it's just not healthy for your mental health or whatever. It's always good to have like a portfolio. So I have one that was made for me using like Map Studios. They're based in Chicago. They made me a website. I think it's powered by WordPress. So you could use that. You could use Canva, whatever is free for you. It doesn't really matter. You just put pictures on there. And you're just gonna make that, and then make like a comp card, which just has like your best pictures on it and your measurements of your body. You can look that up. It's like your waist, your hip, your bust, your leg size, your pant size, your shoe size, all that good stuff. So you can do that. And then to actually send it, you can have a social media account just to look for jobs and then not post. And then you can like have an email to like send your stuff through them, or you can go through the process of getting a platform like All Casting or Backstage, and literally use that in order to post and have that be your main platform, right? Because not everyone wants social media. I know it's important, and obviously I have one, but I always have one. If you don't want one, you don't need one, right? It's not like the world is going to end for you if you don't want to do it. Now, you're probably wondering how much of these things cost to really set up and have everything. Obviously, TFPs are free, so you don't have to like pay for anything. The most you're paying is just to travel. If you're going to the suburbs, if you're going to like a different location, you might have to pay for bus, gas, car, whatever, right? As long as it's not like crazy far. But if you get like if you're like your initial pictures done, or you're paying for like a platform or platforms, right? Or you're paying for your own outfit sometimes, because some castings, they want you to bring your own clothes for pictures. So you might have to buy your own clothes if you don't have what you consider good clothes to wear for photography or for a photo shoot. It can come out to be in the hundreds, just because total, the most it's going to take is honestly the platform, because they are greedy. And the second will probably be the clothing. If you're not thrifting, I always suggest you thrift. They are the cheapest way to save yourself money, especially when you're actively trying to get photo shoots done and you're getting your own clothes. For Runaway, if they don't give you designer clothing, because I have been a Runaway where I'm bringing my own clothes, and I was just like, cool. I already had a dress, but I knew people who thrifted. If you want to have, there's some modeling classes you can take as well in order to like learn more about how to do things. Like I'm in a modeling class right now, and originally I'm in it with like actors and other people who are wannabe to like in that influencer world stuff as well. So I'm doing the full experience, and that's like around $2,000 for like 30 weeks if I do it weekly. 30 weeks of literal learning, right? Now, obviously, I could have taken like specific classes and that would have been fine, but I was starting off and I was like, I have $2,000 to spare. I don't know why, but the class has been amazing. I've learned a lot, and I'm teaching you some of what I've learned. So it's working out it's working out so far for me. And then next, it can definitely be if you do a website and you don't want to do it yourself, but you want a professional to do it. Map Studios has like a platform for you to do that on their, if you're in Chicago. If you're not in Chicago, you have your own like places. You can look it up, right? And they will help you with that, help you take your initial pictures, help you make a website, help you set up agency calls, not calls, but like help you like send emails to them to say, I'm submitting my pictures for you. And they will probably charge you in the thousands. I'm not gonna lie, that's what they charge me. So I spent like a good lot of money, like over 4K for sure. But it was a lot of great pictures, and I still use them to this day to just show off, because you don't gotta replace those pictures until like a year later. So I'm good. What are some of the things you guys probably need to know? I would say for the biggest things about modeling that you have to watch out for, other than the scams, because I'm sure I talked about that ad nauseum as well. There are scammers for sure. Some people will definitely try to fake out a photography shoot with you or post a fake casting call. And I've seen some of the ways people have done it. One major way is obviously engagement scams, and just like, oh, we're doing a casting call, like on Threads, for example, because it's mostly words. it's like they're doing a casting call and they have all these like information about what is it going to be about, but they have no locations. So now you're asking them what's the location, and all of a sudden they're all like in one place that's nowhere near you, but they don't post it, right? And they have like a blue check mark, so now you know you're getting paid for it. That's an engagement scam. Another could be someone posts pictures and then they say, "Oh, we have all the location or whatever," and the location is like TBA or like DM for information about that, which is weird, right? Don't ever fall for that. And then you text them and it's like a WhatsApp number, which one, red flag, because usually if they are doing through Facebook or Instagram, they should be able to contact you through those apps. You take it in and out of app. There's no guarantee the person you just contacted is a photographer or even a part of a project, which can't be said for everyone, but those type of mostly AI made casting calls, there's so many of them, it's like insane. You can kind of tell they all go to the same person too. Most of these AI casting calls, they tend to have the same information, but they tend to change up like how to contact them, which in some cases can be a WhatsApp number. Don't fall for a WhatsApp number. Don't ever. You don't know where you're going if you do that. You don't know what country they're asking you from. You don't know what they're expecting you to do. They can ask you crazy questions, which luckily in this age you can block and delete numbers. So don't give them any personal information ever, of course. And then another thing I had to really learn in myself is that you really can't make every single casting call that ever exists on like Instagram or Facebook. Like for me, I had told you guys a while ago that I was going to stop doing casting calls that were literally an hour and a half by bus away from me, just because even when I was unemployed, right? I will have probably nothing to do. Well, if I have nothing to do, I'll probably make it. But I'll probably have like 2 or 3 things to do and then be like a casting call, but like an hour and a half away. And I'll have to take the time out my day to expect myself to be gone for more than 3 hours away from my apartment just to have a no. And it's like, yeah, some things are well deserving of like a long time to do like whatever casting calls, right? But if I know I'm gonna do a casting call for a random like runaway that's not gonna pay me, that's gonna ask me to sell tickets, they're gonna ask me to get my own clothing, and I'm going out of my way for you, and I'm not getting any compensation in any type of way, I'm gonna have to decline for sure, right? So I would just say, for me personally, I had to stop taking anything that's over an hour 30, just because you could be the greatest out there, and if I have no free time, I have no free time. And now that I have a job, which thank God, you know what I'm saying? Now that I have a job, I definitely don't have as much time to go an hour and a half anywhere. Like even now, there was a casting call like over the weekend. I just didn't go to it. It was like an hour and 10 minutes, but I was going to cut it close with something else I had going on. So it just wasn't a smart idea, and I'm just trying to protect myself personally, because going that far out the way, no guarantee that you're going to have that runaway exactly where that is, and that's too far for me. But let's go into some type of modeling you can do as you start off, because I feel like we got out of the way things you shouldn't do. If there's more, leave in the comments below, because honestly, I'm probably blanking. I just don't know. But this is what I've experienced. So do each their own experience, of course, and especially where you live, right? I live in Chicago, so it's big, but not that big, surprisingly, in terms of modeling, which I don't want it to be that big, but also, damn, okay, some projects actually come to us. But here are some good projects and gigs you can look into when you're starting off. So like I'm 6 months in, but this is what I was doing for like 6 months, right? I was contacting like small brands that were local to my city, right? Think of clothing stores, think of makeup stores, think of skincare, hair care. Hair care is probably a lot easier to get like a model from, because a lot of new artists who do hair or cosmetologists who do makeup, they tend to want people to help build their portfolio. I would just be careful. Another one, I know, this is the one I have to tell you guys. They do want you to pay for sometimes. Like they want you to pay for the hair if you're bringing like weave or extensions or something like that, or they want you to pay for the service. Even if it's a discount, be wary, because a lot of people who do like hair shows, but not hair shows like the typical ones you see where it's a million people, like you're doing like a hair modeling for someone who's learning how to braid hair, for example, but they're just trying to get more clients. Sometimes you're the client. Sometimes you're the client because you're paying them like $60 when they were going to upcharge you to like 160 for like a quick weave or something, you know, so be careful. But things that I've done that worked, I was a what was it called? Like a part model for a good second, like a hand part model. So I used to have like fake nails, which I'm sure I've showed you guys in like a previous video. I just have like fake nails that I got because they were showing off for their West Loop nail salon, and that was my payment, was like literally fake nails. They were so beautiful, but goodness, they were blunt as heck. I was like, I can't do anything with these. I was also a makeup model for one person who wanted to do more wedding makeup, so she did it on me. That was great. Of course, I have pictures here in case y'all want to see it as well, so y'all can be proven that I actually did this stuff. I also did boutique. I was a boutique model for a good second. I'm not sure what it's called. It's like when you like pose in their clothing, but they take a picture of you for their website. I was doing that for like one of the boutique stores in Chicago on the west side, and it was fun. Like she let me have one of her outfits, like one of the clothing that she was selling, and I got like these wonderful recycled like baggy jeans, and I was like, oh my god, they're beautiful, and they're like originally like almost $70. I got them for free because I help models. So sometimes your payment is just things, and it's amazing. I love it. Other things that I've done is just like editorial shoots here and there, not really for anyone, but just for the funsies. Sometimes I help people do like music videos. So I've been a part of like one one college school. They were doing like a music video in like a really popular, not that popular, but like a kind of popular filming place in Chicago. I don't remember what it was called. And we did like a music video there, which is pretty cool. They're trying to submit it for something. I'm pretty sure they lost, but it was so fun. Like it was my first time. I just did a shoot over the weekend, which y'all saw in the last video, where I was with a filming and we were wearing like 1920s outfits, and that was also considered unpaid, of course. That was more filming, of course, but we were there as models, so that was our main role, and then we were just there to show off like the different sins, the seven deadly sins. So that was really fun. And then when I got paid for that, I got paid nothing. I got paid an exposure for that one, for sure, for sure. But it was a great time. I had a great experience. And honestly, I would do it again, but maybe with something to give, right? I done Runaway, as I said. That's probably like one of the easier ones because you just see it pop up a lot, especially if you're on social media. I look for everything for real, but they pop up the most. And with summer happening, there's a lot more. Um, Hmm. I haven't done like true hair shows where they like mess with your hair and then they make it different styles and everything. I have seen people do it online. I haven't done it. I would like to do it, but like obviously with someone who knows how to do my hair for sure. But I've seen it. I applied for it. They never replied to me, which is crazy. But it was the American Beauty Show, the one that I showed you guys like weeks ago, where I literally took pictures of me working as a volunteer. But there was also people there who was doing hair shows on people's actual hair. I would not want it on my actual hair for sure, but wouldn't mind extensions. I wouldn't mind. I also there's also in different realm. There's also like bridal runway shows, bridal models where you wear like literal people's like wedding outfits to show off like the different stores that have these outfits. I've never been a part of it. I've applied like at least 3 times. I don't know. They just don't care that I applied clearly, but they exist as well. I'm showing you pictures of other people doing them now because I never did it. And it's just been like different types of model you can get into. And for the most part, you don't have to pay to like actually like apply or even accept it. Like usually they either pay you or you're doing it for free. If you do have to pay, because some people like to be money hungry and there are scammers, they do tend to ask for application fee, which is just you giving them money in order to give an application. Stay away from them for sure. So that's really all of the different types of modeling you can get into. The payment system I talked about, how to get into it, I talked about. It's not as hard as people think it is. I think it just becomes more of a confidence issues for sure. Like I started doing it because public speaking and confidence probably was on my vision board that I made with you guys. And I wanted to do more of that while, looking for a job at the time. So modeling was like a real big push in order to do that. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And then to model, you have to be able to be expressive and do different poses that you have to think of on your own for the most part. So like having different pictures, you're always looking back and being like, ooh, this is ugly. Ooh, this is good. Ooh, this and that. And you might think it's ugly, someone might think it's beautiful, and it just becomes like, okay, as long as they like it, I'm good with that. Because at the end of the day, this is for what people will see, because you want to get booked by people who love it. If you do everything about what you like, you might literally end up like having nothing, because some people might hate what you like, which is crazy. But it's all about the perception of what people will say. My biggest advice, if you want to get into modeling, is it's never too late. I'm 25, so I started when I was 25, right? There's people who start off when they're 15, legally, surprisingly. There's people who start off when they're like literally 60. There's no real age limit. There might be a stopgap depending on what type of modeling you want to get into or what you're applying for. Like I don't know if Victoria's Secret is gonna let you do it if you're like 100, right? But I don't think you'll be barred from doing it in like any other capacity. You just gotta be okay with some people. You just gotta be okay with some people saying no or nothing to you when you apply, which means no, and just pushing through. Literally, that's how I think of it when I was applying for jobs doing modeling. Still, I was thinking of like, well, I'm getting clearly a rejection from a lot of these different casting calls, but I don't care because I want a job, and that's more important to me. But when you're used to applying to like a million tech jobs, the rejections you get from modeling, it's like, okay, like I don't care. Like it's just another day for you. So if you're doing this full time, I would not do that. It's really not that smart because you wouldn't find enough work to do in a day. So I'll always say if you do want to do it full time one day, get a part time job and have to be flexible. So like DoorDash, gig work is great, I'm sure, but it doesn't pay well. So don't do that for real. Do like a mini part time job, and that's can be fun and whimsy or whatever. I don't know. I think for me, I'm obviously gonna keep pushing for modeling, even though I am like have a full time job. I actually applied to go to a casting call in California because I'm going to Cali over the weekend, and I'll show you more about it when I actually start packing up and going. I'm so tired already. But thank you guys for listening. That is all I have for the 6-month anniversary of me starting modeling. If you guys want a part 2, or if you have questions about what you want me to talk about, because I feel like I talked about everything, but I could have missed something, leave it down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to come back and actually give you more information. If not, the next video should be me packing up to go to California because, actually, I can just tell you here. One of my siblings is graduating and he goes to Stanford in California. So I'll be going there for like 4 days because I'm not going to risk California traffic, right? So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be doing a casting call there just because I want to actually see how it is. I don't know why I'm doing casting call in California. Actually, it's actually really stupid, but it's funny. I don't know. It's for the gigs and gaggles, I guess. So, anyway, I'm going to leave you off with that. If you are wanting to do modeling or you want to do acting, you want to do anything that's outside of like whatever you're doing now, like if you want to be a painter, do it. I don't know what's stopping you. Like literally, you're not going to find the right time. I don't think you are ever going to find the right time. Just find like 5 minutes and start doing like a voiceover or record yourself doing a monologue or literally like draw like a bunch of happy faces. You just do the art. So that's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember to like, share, subscribe so you know there's a new update from moi. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.